The spirit's wishless force pushed them back with a single surge of mana. Still, the enemies kept rising repeatedly. Aaron pleaded with her to stop before she died from overexertion, but the mage understood that stopping now would only worsen their plight. She needed to end it immediately. She attempted to invoke the Spirit King's authority, Rongomians. Just as she prepared to summon him, someone grasped her hand and froze her in place. Unable to move an inch, she looked at her captor, initially thinking him another marionette. However, his aura differed, and he wielded black fog magic, manifesting the fog into a consuming force. Once it enveloped the spirit's entire body, the entity began to fade away, whispering its farewells. Weakened by the fog, Alice collapsed to her knees, drained of all strength. Moments before vanishing completely, Marianne whispered that Felina would always welcome her. Everyone present was baffled by what had just transpired. Sushlona explained that the man had blocked the spirit's mana, nullifying its manifestation, and added uncertainty over whether he was even human. The marionette pressed forward to attack again, but Cyan cut through them effortlessly. Although he attacked, if he took even a small step back, all the enemies gravitated toward the princess's group, as if irresistibly drawn. He asked Karam if she sensed any mana around the group. She confirmed feeling demonic mana emanating from Aaron's necklace. He requested her help to clear the situation swiftly and cleanly. Using his creation space technique, he enveloped the entire room in a fog domain. Panic erupted as no one knew what lurked inside the fog or what threats might emerge. The marionettes began sinking into the mist, consumed within seconds. In moments, all of them vanished completely, leaving the space silent and empty. It was as if nothing had occurred. Both parties were intrigued and amused, wondering who the masked man could be. Suddenly, Lunav collapsed, unconscious from exhaustion. Cyan appeared behind Orion, attempting to remove her necklace. She sensed a vague familiarity but couldn't place him. He shattered the gemstone that had been attracting the marionettes, but the guards attacked, fearful for the princess's safety. Rather than dodging, his body transformed into fog, dissolving from sight. He reappeared beside Lunav, performing something on her, but Aaron counterattacked with her light stinger, also turning him to fog without harm. Employing psychological manipulation, he spoke, assuring them he meant no harm and was there to help. He had destroyed the druids, so the monsters should no longer be drawn to them. He urged them to exit through the front gates, assuring the path was cleared. The fog domain dissipated, revealing the original room. The guardians checked on the princess, but she told them not to worry about her and to assist Alice and Lunav. The mage confirmed she was fine and insisted they recover and leave through the front gate as Cyan advised. She silently resolved that ensuring the children's safety was her top priority, leaving the mystery of the masked man's identity for later. Lunav had sensed his mana and had concealed his presence. In a separate room where Emily and Brian fought the monster, Nana had already slain it and was now devouring its corpse piece by piece. Emily was horrified, questioning if the girl was really a maid. Brian shared her confusion, having never seen her act like this before. She had transformed into a small dragon, radiating a powerful aura. Rumors swirled around Cyan's past life about the banquet flood incident that claimed many lives. Whispers blamed the fifth princess of the empire, Erin Severs, alleging she'd been blinded by her craving for power. The storm that day was likely the real cause, but speculation suggested either Ashel or Luenel had handed her something that sparked the disaster. Following the chaos, both were hailed as empire heroes, emerging as the biggest beneficiaries of the tragedy. Karam struggled to believe they had fabricated the whole event to their advantage, sacrificing their own people for profit. Her disdain ran deep. She even considered humans worse than demons. He responded that this was nothing compared to the atrocities they would commit later, though he admitted feeling regret for the massacres he'd wrought in his previous life. Perhaps he was even darker than them. Rising to his feet, he prompted her to ask if they were leaving. He replied that Nana was probably waiting, and that the knights should handle the palace mess. She hesitated, then recalled her unease about the princess's necklace. She also mentioned Emily, noting the girl carried the scent of Day's stone as well. His shock was immediate. Emily was in serious danger. Nana had lost control, obsessively repeating how delicious Emily smelled as she tried to approach her. Brian stepped in to shield the girl, but was no match for the little one's ferocity. He was forced to admit she was no longer herself. Something monstrous had taken hold. Strangely, she targeted only Emily, ignoring him entirely. He faced a dilemma. He needed to stop her without harming her. Both feared their end as Nana lunged forward, but Cyan arrived just in time, intercepting the attack with his own body, sacrificing himself to save them both. Emily grabbed the bow tie from Nana and destroyed it instantly. Karam shouted at the girl to snap out of it, reminding her that her father was here. The words broke through. Her awareness returned, and she understood what she had done. He stood, a large slash across his back, assuring her it was fine and didn't hurt. Since she hadn't meant it, she hadn't done anything wrong. She collapsed to her knees, consumed by regret over her actions and the destruction she'd caused. The aftermath of her assault had demolished half the room. He turned away, telling her they needed to get out. Meanwhile, Luenel and Ashel assisted the Emperor's escape. They were surprised the rest of the palace appeared untouched, as if nothing had transpired. Both expressed relief that the crisis was resolved but sensed something was off. The Emperor heard Aaron's voice calling out. She sprinted to him, clutching him tightly and thanking the gods he was safe. During this heartfelt moment, the princess noticed Luenel standing behind him, casting her a frosty glare. In a cold voice, the mage said she was glad Aaron was alive. Aaron's contempt for her deepened. She had countless questions but prioritized tending to the others first. Alice, Lunav, and the guards finally arrived and knelt before the Emperor. He expressed gratitude for saving his youngest daughter and promised generous rewards. Eric noticed Ashel whispering to Luenel. Suddenly, he shouted, pointing his sword at her and accusing her of orchestrating the incident. He declared knowledge of her identity as the granddaughter of the Garam Mage Association president and demanded her arrest. The Emperor rebuked him, ordering his sword lowered, while Aaron defended Luenel, noting she'd saved many lives and was an ally. Eric insisted it was a trick and claimed the Garam kingdom had long awaited a chance to destabilize the Yushif Empire through assassination and chaos. Luenel, unmoved, challenged him to provide evidence. Ashel interjected, revealing a suspicious mana aura had been detected at her residence the previous night. The Emperor demanded proof or for the issue to be dropped. She explained that she had invited them in peace but kept watch as a precaution. She assured him she would uncover more evidence if given time. He consented, though Aaron voiced frustration. Luenel remained uncertain whether this was a trap or part of her grandfather's design. Lunav of Rain Reaver and her group from the Garam Mage Association were imprisoned for investigation. Meanwhile, Luxemius, separated from Aaron, collaborated with other knights to safeguard nobles and oversee funerals for Marquis Dranian and many others. Funerals took place openly on the streets. Cheyenne had prevented far more deaths than in his past life, yet the event would forever be remembered as the Banquet of Blood. Still, it could have been much worse. Alice tended to his open wounds, cleaning and bandaging them. He protested that she needn't go to such lengths, but she insisted it was her duty as his sister. She She remarked on how dangerous the situation had been and was grateful he had escaped alive. She mentioned the masked figure. If not for him, she would have perished. His identity remained unknown, but his height was close to Cyan's. Realizing how much fitter he'd become and noting the fresh scars from training, she reached out teasingly, but he shrugged her off and walked away. Then Ashel entered, his fake cheerfulness casting a darker shadow. Cyan's wearing a screw. Alice noticed and suspected he knew of Ashel's cruel and vile nature. He inquired about the progress of the investigation. Ashel said he'd come to discuss it. He revealed that a bracelet containing a day's stone had been found in Lunav's room. She claimed it had been given to her. Cyan suggested whoever gave her the bracelet should be a suspect. Ashel nodded and asked if he recalled receiving anything during the banquet. Recognizing a trap, he denied knowing. He then asked if Ashel knew who had given Lunav the bracelet. The man replied that someone had died in the palace today, prompting the investigation. He repeated the question. Cyan understood this wasn't about the investigation. Ashel was setting him up as a scapegoat. This realization meant Emily was in grave danger. Cyan clocks it. It's a setup. Someone wants him dead. He slumps back, feigning dizziness, one hand brushing his forehead like the pain's real. Alice steps in without missing a beat, backing him up. She reminds Ashel how much he's already been through and adds that the doctor's advice was clear. He needs rest, not stress. Pressuring him like this isn't helping anyone. Ashel seems to buy it. The act is good enough to ease his suspicion. He suggests heading out, but before turning, Cyan finally gives a reply. He says he doesn't recall receiving anything, and even if someone had tried to send something, they probably didn't make it through that hell alive. Ashel gives a slow nod, acknowledging the answer. Something about it satisfies him, maybe because it means he no longer needs to take him out. Still, a part of him regrets it. This was his best chance to erase him. Cyan stays on alert even once he's gone. Alice forcibly pushes him to lie down, insisting he rest whether he likes it or not. Elsewhere, a maid runs through the halls in a panic, Boris not far behind. She keeps shouting that she did exactly what she was told. She gave the necklace to Aaron just like they ordered. She doesn't even know what the damn thing does. Her voice cracks as she begs for her life. Boris catches up and, almost calmly, tells her she didn't mess anything up, but there's still something he has to do. No choice. He slits her throat without hesitation. As she crumples, he quietly curses how all his careful planning just went to shit. Before leaving, he summons a demonic hound from the dark. It snarls, then starts tearing the body apart, erasing the evidence. Far out in a secluded forest, Emily and Brian lie low in a quiet wooden house, far from any eyes. He walks over with a handful of apples and offers her some. Dropping down beside her, they snack in silence before conversation picks up. She asks how long they're supposed to stay hidden out here. He says Cyan gave clear instructions. They're staying put until told otherwise. There's no timeline. It's open-ended. Back in the palace, just before their escape, she had handed him a gift, the bow tie Ashel meant for Cyan. He stared at it, then torched it to ash without hesitation. He told her plainly the palace and the Vert estate weren't safe for her anymore. She had to disappear, at least for now. He turned toward Brian and made it clear he had business to handle, so protecting Emily was now his job. Then Cyan crouched in front of Nana, gave her a small pat on the head. With a rare smile, he reassured her he wouldn't be gone for long. Even Brian blinked, caught off guard by the warmth in that smile. Now back on the forest bench, Emily glances over, asking if Nana's alright. He answers she's had a rough stretch, but she's looking better lately. Emily still can't wrap her head around it. She always thought that girl was just a maid. Turns out she's something else entirely. A dragonic hybrid. Emily knows she has to step up, do more. Their eyes meet, and something unspoken passes between them. Together, they quietly make a pact. They'll give Cyan everything they've got. Inside the castle, Luanel storms into the throne room, shouting. He rages at Emperor Dion for letting the suspects off so easily. Dion fires back, telling him to lower his damn voice. His decision is final. The prince snaps, dripping contempt. How's he supposed to rule the whole continent with that kind of weakness? What the hell is it about the Garam Empire that scares him so much? A flash of blinding light cuts the air just past his head, shutting him up. The emperor speaks coldly. Conquest sounds noble, sure, but the Ushif Empire borders more than just Garam. There's also the Demon Realm, Sparnia, and Farina. If Garam becomes an enemy, they'll lose the only buffer keeping demonkind in check. That floodgate opens, the whole continent drowns in monsters. Even if they could seize power, the death toll would be unthinkable. Anyone who wants that kind of blood-soaked rule doesn't deserve the title of emperor. They're just a monster. Luanel tries to pivot, redirecting the topic back to the suspects. Dion cuts him off again, this time mentioning the day's stone. The prince stiffens. He didn't expect his father to know about that. His agents shouldn't have gotten that far in the investigation yet. Dion catches his expression. It says everything. He's known his son long enough to know that once he wants something, he doesn't let go. He looks at him, disappointment heavy in his gaze, and mutters that Aaron would make a far better emperor than Luanel ever could. And with that, he walks away, adding he has no desire to see him again. Hearing Aaron's name praised like that makes Luanel boil. He lashes out in anger and storms toward her dorm without wasting a second. He slams open her door with heavy, furious steps. Inside, Leximus immediately steps between them, warning him that Princess Aaron is resting. Luanel couldn't care less. He punches the guard straight in the face to shove him aside. Then he turns to his sister. She looks at him and asks, calm but wary, what reason he could possibly have for barging into her room. He gives a crooked, malicious smile. Says he just wants to have a little chat with his dear, sweet sister. Leximus steps forward, firmly reminding Luanel that if he keeps pulling this aggressive crap, the princess will have no choice but to act, even if he is royalty. He doesn't flinch. That same twisted grin spreads wider as he turns to her and casually threatens to wipe out her entire bloodline over a few reckless words. But before it escalates, Aaron interrupts, voice steady. She tells him to cut the nonsense and asks why he's really here. Tilting her head slightly, expression unreadable, she asks if there's something specific he's expecting to hear from her. He falters, picking up on the shift. She's not the shaky, submissive girl he used to push around. The silence drags and she answers before he can recover. She hasn't received anything from him. That shakes him more than he'd like to admit. It's as if she already knows. A few hours earlier, she had met with the Emperor. He asked whether Luanel had given her anything recently. She told him no, nothing. Dione revealed that the necklace she'd been seen wearing once contained a Daze Stone, a forbidden gem from the Black Blood tribe. These stones were used to manipulate outlawed magic. Most despise them now, but rumors claim they can command monsters. Recent intel suggested someone inside the palace had been buying them on the down low. The black market merchant Gilbert and the maid Merlita had been arranging the deals. Both were now dead or missing. Shock flickered across her face. Dione pressed again. Did Luanel gift her the necklace? He had ties to both Gilbert and Merlita. She paused, held her nerve, and said again, she never received anything from him. After thinking it through, she brought up Lunav, asking if the investigation had cleared her name yet. If they already knew who smuggled the stones into the palace, then Lunav shouldn't be considered a suspect anymore. Dione nodded, assuring her he'd leave the girl out of it. Still, Aaron couldn't shake the fear that if she exposed Luenell, he might lash out at anyone close to her. She couldn't let anyone else get hurt. Back in her dorm, she repeats her earlier claim. He remains quiet, still thrown off, but doesn't deny it. This was what he came for. Even so, her sharp tone bruises his ego. He threatens to go after Leximus instead. She holds her ground, completely unfazed. She informs him calmly that she has a guest right now, and he should leave. He raises an eyebrow, asking who it could be. From the far end of the room, Cyan steps into view. He's been standing there the whole time, silent, unreadable, not making a sound. He casually says he heard everything. Luenell stares at him, dumbfounded, not sure what's worse, Cyan's stealth or the fact that he didn't notice a damn thing. He scowls, annoyed that the knight's treating the whole thing like it's a joke, but Cyan doesn't react, not even slightly. He moves to stand beside Aaron and, unfazed, asks if Luenell plans to come at him next. The prince hesitates. There's been talk that Cyan and Aaron might be engaged, and pissing him off would be stupid. He's the son of one of their father's closest allies. What Ashel had said earlier still gnawed at him. A few days ago, he had asked why Ashel was so dead set on eliminating Cyan when their father clearly trusted him. Ashel told him straight. Cyan irritated the hell out of him. He was hiding something big, and the not knowing was driving him insane. Now Luenell gets it. That presence Cyan carries, it's unsettling. He suddenly tones it down, backing off and claiming he was just messing around. Now that the misunderstanding is cleared up, he says he'll be on his way. Cyan finds the whole thing weird. Luenell Severus, the one history once called the Insane Emperor, actually seems reasonable, at least compared to the one from his previous life. Before leaving, the prince glances toward Leximus and gives an apology for the earlier hit. The knight, still stiff from the punch, apologizes back for what he said. Once Luenell's gone, Leximus mutters that he's a piece of crap. He thanks Cyan for showing up, but Cyan shrugs it off, saying Aaron handled everything just fine on her own. Without warning, he drops down beside her. She stiffens, cheeks flushing. She points out that he's sitting way too close. He just glances over, unbothered, and asks if he's not allowed to sit there now. The teasing tone flusters her more. She doesn't even try to hide it. Cyan had one goal, make Luenell believe he and Aaron were a thing. Now that the bluff worked, the prince wouldn't dare touch her. With that handled, he gets up, ready to leave. Leximus watches him go, visibly confused by how casually he's bowing out. He's done his part. He walks away without looking back, while Aaron quietly sinks deeper into her feelings for him. Luenell storms into Ashel's office, slamming a fist against the stone wall. He demands to know how his ally plans to fix the mess. The plan was supposed to be airtight, so why are all their targets still breathing? Even worse, he's lost his father's faith. Ashel was supposed to be the shining hope of the Yushiv Empire, and now everything's falling apart. Boris enters, interrupting with a calm tone. He mentions that there's been some progress. He introduces himself and offers a polite greeting. The prince glares, asking where the hell he's been this whole time. Boris explains that Ashel had sent him out on an errand. He also brings news. Emily has vanished. Ashel asks what kind of success he's talking about. Boris pulls a small glowing pyramid from his coat and holds it up. He says they've underestimated the people closest to Princess Aaron. Luenell asks if they're supposed to reflect on that. Boris shakes his head. It's not about reflection. It's about facing the evidence. Inside the crystal, faint traces of mana swirl. Most of it is ordinary, but there's something else. Black fog creeping along the edges. That specific aura belongs to the demonic sword, which means someone in Aaron's inner circle is wielding forbidden power. Back in the royal dorms, Emily sets down a steaming platter. Dinner tonight. A monstrous, demonic-looking scorpion. Brian stares at it like it might lunge at him. Meanwhile, Nana and Cyan eat like it's no big deal. Brian pushes his plate away. Cheyenne's already finished, brushing his hands clean as he stands. Emily asks if he can stay longer, maybe eat a bit more. He declines. If he sticks around, Ashel might find him, and that would put all of them in danger. He says he only came to check on them. Emily still can't go back yet, but Brian can handle errands if needed. Cyan quietly assures them that he's stationed people nearby. Right now, this place is safer than anywhere else. He tells them he'll be back later, then heads out. Just as he steps outside, Serica, the hallmaster, blocks his path. Her voice is laced with sarcasm as she comments on his adorable little family. Then her tone darkens. She wants answers. How did he know about the banquet of blood? Or the death of her fiancé? Everything about him screams foreknowledge. She gives him one warning. His answer will decide what comes next. Depending on what he says, she'll either mark him as an ally or label him a threat. Her voice drops, serious now, as she asks him directly, no more games. Who the hell is he really? Who is Cyan Vert? There's no way he could have known who her fiancé was, let alone that he died. Cyan tells her straight. Drenian, her fiancé, was bound for purification regardless. It shouldn't matter. She doesn't buy that and suggests he might actually be part of another faction, one that's been spying on them. He stays unfazed and asks her directly, if he were a spy, what kind did she think he was? Her only reply is a dagger hurled at him in a flash. Karam bats it away midair, stepping between them and snapping at her for daring to attack her wielder. Sarika holds her ground, not backing down when there's a chance for a real fight. They throw themselves into a clash, sharp and fast. The blade spirit breaks away just enough to ready a technique, then unleashes a dense sphere of black mist straight at her. She narrowly twists out of the way, and everything the attack touches is obliterated behind her. Had it hit, or worse, had she tried to deflect it, she'd be dead on impact. Now she gets it, why Karam stays in sword form so often. It's the only way to keep her strength in check. If she went all out, she could level the whole city. Only another demon lord could go up against that kind of power. Their standoff resets, eyes locked, both poised to strike again, but Cyan cuts in first. He activates demonic control over Karam and shuts the whole thing down. He warns them both that this much noise is going to get them noticed. They've blown their cover, and now Emily and Brian need to relocate. He steps inside the small house, ready to tell them the plan, only to freeze at the sight of Lunab, sitting casually at the table with the others. She's bypassed the barrier completely, not even a ripple of detection. She's way more dangerous than he'd guessed. He questions how she found this place. She shrugs it off, says it's just one of her little talents, and assures him no one else knows. She came alone, only to thank him. He brushes that off. He doesn't think he's done anything worth thanks, but she insists. From the moment his energy entered her, she recognized it. Everyone turns to him, confused, none of them realizing she's talking about the day in the palace when his mana surged into her body. She explains she can manipulate all types of elemental magic, blend them, and shift them. She can even trace a person's unique mana signature, a gift passed down down from her grandfather. He disagrees, calling it a curse. Her body's already cracked under the strain. Her expression shifts, half wonder, half gratitude. It really was him who helped her that day. He stops her there and suggests they continue the conversation somewhere else. Emily lights up when he says they're going back to Lewin Academy. Finally, she'll get to look after him every single day. Lunav opens up, saying most of her life's been spent locked away in a freezing, dark place, subjected to brutal experiments. She didn't have a choice. It was her role, her burden, as Reigen's Rainreaver's granddaughter. She asks if he also has some fate he's bound to. He says no, so she presses. Then why save them? Why wear a mask while doing it? He answers bluntly, fame's a headache he'd rather not deal with, and she can figure out the rest. She falls quiet, then conjures a swirling orb of black mana in her palm. She tells him that when they first met at the restaurant, she thought she'd picked up pure darkness from him. He's clearly caught off guard. He didn't know she could read mana through touch. Not something he'd come across before, not even in his last life. She continues. The day she collapsed in the palace, the energy he pushed into her didn't match any element she knew. She's convinced it's his, but it's like nothing she's ever seen. So she asks him, what exactly is it? He figures out why she's really here, and asks if she plans on handing that information over to her grandfather. She shuts that idea down, saying it sounds like a hassle. He pushes again. So she's defying him now? She doesn't answer, just leans in and wraps her arms around him, thanking him again quietly. Her body had become a volatile mess, like a boiling pot overloaded with all types of mana. Someone had slammed a lid on top, trapping it all inside. The heat built up until the pressure began to smother her life force. She'd been standing at death's door. All he had done was poke a hole through that lid, enough to let some of it out, just enough to relieve the pressure. In his eyes, she looked like someone else's pawn, and that hit a nerve, because she reminded him of who he used to be. He gently pushes her back and tells her she owes him nothing. He asks her to keep it quiet. He's gotta go. Just before leaving, he turns and warns her not to overdo it again. Next time, it might kill her. A soft look crosses her face. Now she's sure, he really is a good person. Meanwhile, deep within the Garam Empire, inside Reigen's chamber, the Emperor's expression twists with fury the moment he hears the news about Lunav. His butler tries to calm him, saying no formal charges have been filed, but that's not what's eating at him. She still hasn't returned home. He orders them to track her down and bring her back, no matter what. Cyan and the rest of his group finish gathering their things, preparing to depart, and begin making their way back toward the academy. Among them, it's Emily who stands out the most, her mood brighter than anyone else's. Curious about her enthusiasm, he looks over and asks what's gotten her in such a good mood. She happily responds that it's because she gets the chance to serve him again, just like before. But then she adds something else, reminding him that the academy has a strict rule against bringing in maids, and wants to know what exactly he's planning to do about that problem. He explains that the headmaster might allow it just for him, though he's definitely not in favor of the idea. If the principal lets it slide, he'll take responsibility and make sure no one notices her at all. He then adds that he plans to ask for special permission, but only for himself. The dean replies by asking why he should even consider making such an exception in this case. Trying to find a quick deal, Cyan offers to never skip class again, hoping it would be enough to win him over. But the man isn't impressed. That's clearly not good enough. Instead, he shifts the topic and asks why Cyan has shown up with 2 maids instead of just 1. He then presses further, wondering aloud if this has anything to do with the incident known as the Banquet of Blood. He doesn't believe for a second that the request would be made unless there was something more behind it. Cyan suggests a trade. He'll give him the answer, but only if the dean agrees to his request first. Condal gives a nod and agrees. In turn, Cyan admits that it's not easy to explain the situation at the moment. However, there is one thing he's absolutely sure of. He had nothing to do with the Banquet of Blood in any capacity, and he knows full well that this is the answer the dean was waiting to hear. The older man asks for confirmation, still not quite convinced, and wants to know if Cyan is truly certain about that. Although his reaction shows skepticism, he doesn't press further. The conversation ends on a relatively positive note. Even so, Cyan can't shake the thought of what might happen if the truth ever came out. If Condal realized that the real person behind the Banquet of Blood was none other than his own grandson, things would fall apart. From what he knows, it couldn't possibly have been Lewinel, too sloppy for something that precise. He's pretty confident it was Ashel who came up with the plan, while Boris likely worked things from the shadows, pulling strings as usual. That's always been the pattern. Ashel runs the front while Boris manages things behind the curtain. Later, when Cyan returns to his dormitory, he's surprised to see someone outside his room doing push-ups on the floor. It's the same guy who challenged him to a duel a few years ago. As soon as he spots him, the guy jumps up and immediately asks for a rematch. Apparently, he's been showing up every single day for the past 2 years doing this routine. Cyan doesn't even acknowledge him. He just walks past and enters his room without a word. Inside, he stops when he sees Brian lying unconscious on the ground. Turning to Emily, he asks what's going on. She calmly explains that Brian passed out after eating some cookies she'd given him earlier. She then offers Cyan one, asking if he'd like to try them too. He immediately shuts her down, telling her not to feed Brian anything again, ever. Dropping onto the couch, he's ready to finally get a moment of rest, but his mind won't quiet, already stressing about what kind of chaos his new group might bring. That's when he notices a white envelope sitting on the table. He asks aloud where it came from. Opening it, the first thing that catches his attention is that it's from Lunav. Before he can get past the first line, she walks through the main door in person, stepping in casually and asking how things have been. Without hesitation, she tells him she's officially run away from home. Meanwhile, not far away beside a quiet lake, 2 unknown individuals are having a private conversation. One tells the other that guards from the Garam Mage Association are already on their way, so there's no need for concern. He assures them everything has been taken care of. The older man speaks again, saying this is the only option left if they want to stop Reigen's Rainreaver from completely losing control. The woman responds without flinching, telling him not to worry about her having regrets. Even though Lunav was once her student, she feels no guilt over what she's doing. She's revealed to be Mela Aronis, a teacher at Lewin Academy. She tells him plainly she isn't so naive that she'd feel pity for someone like that. She says she'll go to the designated location now and adds that her team should have already reached Lunav by this point. Back with Cyan, he grabs her by the arm and drags her out of the town toward a bench just outside the city. Once they're seated, he demands to know how she managed to bypass the warding spell on the dorm entrances. She tells him she examined the spell's structure using her mana, then used her own spell to cancel it out. He stares, stunned. What she just described goes way beyond basic analysis. She can dissect and reproduce magic instantly. It's not just about scanning. She can flat out replicate. She then asks if he had time to read her letter. He hasn't. She showed up before he could even finish the first sentence. She admits she came early because she didn't want to wait for his response. He presses next, wanting to know if her grandfather sent her here. She freezes, saying nothing. So he pushes again. Did Rygans tell her to approach him specifically? She takes a breath and says that yes, it started that way, but not anymore. Whether he believes her is up to him. Then she shifts the subject and mentions something strange happening at the association. 2 dragons affiliated with them suddenly went missing near the Lewin region. On top of that, some smugglers transporting illegal goods from other countries were recently found dead. Now that she's pieced things together, she realizes he's tied to every single one of those incidents.